This is the BBC.
This podcast is supported by advertising outside the UK.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Hello and welcome to The World at One with me, Sarah Montague. We have an exclusive interview with Sir Paul McCartney where he discusses global warming, Glastonbury and Christmas songs.
When we started, we knew of 3 schools that did it. And we were so proud of them. We thought, wow, it's so great. And I see now today that an estimated 3,500 to 5,000 schools are involved. So that is incredible. And a lot of them do credit our campaign for sort of making it possible. I think the thing was that we said to everyone, look, there's this idea that you could go meat-free on Monday. You don't have to. We're not pushing you. You don't have to go fully veggie or vegan or anything. But just try it for one day. And the idea was that if we don't preach and we don't push, people will do it and then think, oh, it's not so bad. And that's what's happened.
Who do you think's driving it? Is it the children or is it the schools that are taking it up, do you think?
I think it's both. What we started to do, realising that there were 3, we started to feed them with material. We'd say, the teachers, here's some nice pictures, here's some facts about the environment particularly, and you can use these in the class. And the teachers then responded and said, oh, this went down well, have you got any more? And then we were very careful to ask the kids, what do you think? Actually, one of my own kids' schools was one of the first ones, because the chef at the school who did all the school dinners was this Liverpool guy who was really into the idea, and he preached it. It was great. So I said to him, let me ask some of the kids, so what do you think? Oh yeah, we love it. In fact, I think there was one day when there was something that wasn't exactly veggie and the kids pulled him up on it. So, I think it was an interesting thing for them, and they certainly didn't mind it. That was what we were worried about, that they or the parents would seriously say, wait a minute, you can't do that. And we said, it's only one day, it's just an idea, it's a change. Anyway, the kids ended up loving it, and the parents did too, and so suddenly you've got this crazy statistic of 3,500 plus.
Which is, of course, a far cry from when, I guess it would be Linda driving you back in the 70s to go vegetarian, when it was viewed so differently then.
Yeah, it really was. I would say there was, when we first came down to London from Liverpool, there was one restaurant called Crank's, which gives you the idea of how people thought of veggies. So, no, it's a massive change. Linda and I were on a farm, and there were lambs gambling around in a field, and we were eating leg of lamb. And we didn't make the connection. And we just suddenly went, oh, wait a minute, the light bulb went off. And we said, should we try and do something about this? Which we did. And that started it. But that was a long time ago. And it was very difficult to do, but you know what? We took it as a fun challenge. We said, well, what are we going to do at Christmas? I said, I want to carve something. I'm the dad in this family. I've got to carve something. Old traditionalist ideas. But so Linda ended up, she thought, what we could do? She made what we called a macaroni turkey. So it was like a mac and cheese, but she let it set. So it went hard. And then the next day when it was sort of cold, you could actually just slice it.
So you had cold sliced macaroni cheese on Christmas?
No, it starts off cold and then you fry it, heat it up or something. But it looks like a little central. The thing always for us was to find something to put in the middle of the plate. Now you'd taken the meat out. We called it the hole in the middle of the plate. So that was always the thing. But we actually took it as a fun challenge.
So when was the last time you had meat?
Oh, I don't know, over 30 years ago. Someone just said to me it's 40. So it could be over 40 years ago. I don't know.
You don't, I mean, when you smell bacon sizzling, you're not tempted?
No, but I understand, because I did love the smell of bacon. And now, I mean, it's not that I don't like the smell of bacon, I just don't want to eat it for the various reasons. You know, it's like I love the smell of coffee in the morning, but I'm not a big coffee drinker. Some things just smell good. But no, I'm just not interested for a number of reasons. One was originally the animal welfare aspect that, you know, and it gets a bit, you get on your soapbox, so I'll try not to. But, you know, I say to people, we're on this planet, which appears to be the only one in the universe that is suitable for the way we live, and alongside of us there's these little creatures, and I want to give them a shot at living, you know. So that's my attitude. I just don't want to kill one of them.
Of course, now you've got the climate activists on your side too, as well. Yes. To some extent anyway, as far as meat is concerned. No,
that's true. That's one of the very interesting things that kicked in. I think it was 2006 when the United Nations produced a report called Livestock's Long Shadow, which I was told about, and I read, and it was fascinating, you know, that it said, no, this is a big contributor to greenhouse gases, the methane, because until then we'd assumed it was just transport, it was just cars, trucks, airplanes, everything. And so suddenly that gave a great boost to what we'd been thinking and saying. So now we then had this environmental aspect, which was like, you know, if you happen to go veggie, at least even if it's only one day a week, if enough of us do that, there will be an impact. Okay,
so tell us about Christmas then this year, because we were talking about, 30, 40 years ago when you're carving a mac and cheese. Yeah. Now what happens on the McCartney Christmas Day? Oh,
we're much more sophisticated now. No, what it is we have a food company which produces a roast. So we actually have a veggie roast, and I am called upon, carve it. So I do, ceremoniously. And yeah, we actually have a roast. But the thing about it is you have all the other stuff. You have the roast potatoes, you have the, you know, all the veg and everything. And so in the middle of the plate now, there's no longer a hole, there's a roast, a veggie roast. And, you know, sometimes we have friends around who will try it and go, I love this. You know, so it's evolving, as we all are, as the planet is, our dietary taste. Well, I mean, it's not just the veggie thing. There's so many things are evolving along with it. And I think it's just a great thing. I mean, when I was at school, the idea of doing gym was horrific. And, you know, you wouldn't catch me near a gym. Now I love it. I'm evolving.
Okay, so you're all sitting around this, I don't even know what to call it, but your roast, your veggie roast.
Veggie roast.
And paint us the scene of the McCartney Christmas. Is there a big family gathering? Are you listening to music? Are you watching the Queen's speech?
Yeah, it's like that. It depends how many family we have around. The more the merrier. But it is a bunch of us, and I'm carving a roast, and with the rest of the stuff's all there.
Carols?
Brussels sprouts. No, actually, I was wondering whether to tell you about the music thing. Years ago, I thought there's not very good Christmas records. There's a Phil Spector record I like, but I thought I'd like just something kind of traditional and simple and easy with all the Good King Wenceslas and all of that. So I actually went into my studio over a couple of years and I made one, but it's just for the family. So I'm afraid Dad's Christmas Carol record comes on.
You're joking.
Yeah, Silent Night. Now it's
you haven't. This is not something you've released.
This is nothing released. No, this is just for the family. That's why I was wondering whether to say anything about it or not. It is. It just gets brought out each year. I've just got a little demo of it, but you know, the kids like it, but now it's kind of traditional, so it's something they've heard through the years, you know. And now it's the grandkids getting indoctrinated with my carols record. But It's fun. We have a few little things like that, and then there's the booze, and it's all very jolly.
Okay, so you are going to be playing next year at Glastonbury. This is, I mean, it's a big year, 50th anniversary year, which is why they said they didn't want anybody else really but you. Will you get nervous about that?
Well, could be, because you can get nervous about any concert. But what I do if I've got something like that I consider a big thing, is I'm doing 10 concerts before it. So to get up to speed. I mean, you don't get an athlete just coming into the Olympics not having done a few races beforehand. So yeah, we've got some gigs in Europe that we're going to do, and those are kind of nice. So to get up to speed. So the idea is by the time I get to Glastonbury, it'll just be just like another gig. But of course it won't be, because it's very special. The thing I like about Glastonbury actually is all the sort of the ley lines and all of that. Come on.
What do you mean?
I've got a friend who's he's into all that. Says, it's on the ley lines, and then you do it all cross and they intersect at Glastonbury. So I kind of like that. We're going to be
how does it affect you? I mean, what do you do? What's different about it being on the ley lines when you're there performing?
It's magical. You get transformed into a magical being. Now, I don't know. I mean, it's fun. It just adds to the fun, really, But he's quite serious about it, and I like that. So I take a little bit of his seriousness and have a laugh with it. But you should research it. It is apparently very true.
You'll know that Coldplay have decided that they are not going to tour because of their concerns about the impact on climate change. And I wonder, when you're talking about touring in Europe, whether it's something, because you've long been a climate activist, whether it's something that you are aware of and think about how you can, affect your own touring carbon footprint. Yeah,
I mean, I am aware of it, and you do your best. But it is very difficult if you're going to tour. If I'm going to go and tour in America, you can't say, you can't even say we'll go by Greyhound bus, because that's just as bad. And we certainly can't just bike our way around, So it's a reality. You just have to do it, and I think you just have to plant a lot of trees. You just have to think, I'm going to do that, but I'll plant a lot of trees. So that's kind of how I offset it. Is doing things that will make up for it. But if I am going to tour, then that is going to involve travel, which is going to involve a carbon footprint. So you try and offset it. That's what I try and do. Okay,
so that idea, whether it's climate change or the vegetarianism in schools, are you acutely conscious that actually older people are being pushed into it by younger people? I mean, you accepted, of course, because we're accepting you've been sort of taking this position for years. Yeah. Are you feeling like this is great? I was in the wrong generation. This is the generation I was part of.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think it's fine. Young people always push old people into stuff. It's not just these issues, because they're sensible, and it's their world that is about to happen, and I think the whole school kids strike thing, you'll get people saying, oh, they should have been at school this afternoon. It's like, yeah, but there's not going to be a school if nobody gets onto climate change. So I'm very pleased actually that young people are thinking this way. Hey, think about it. They could think the opposite way. They could be like, oh no, let's Trump. Let's go crazy. It's a hoax. They could be saying that. Well, luckily they're not. They're way too sensible. So I like that they're pushing older people into things.
You paint this scene of the McCartney family with listening to your carols or your songs. I don't know the carols. What's the ideal?
They're not my songs. It's just traditional carols
that you sing.
Done it.
So you're listening to them. I
don't even sing them. They're instrumentals.
Really?
Yeah. It's just me going.
Why wouldn't you sing?
Plonk, plonk, plonk. Well, because I like doing instrumentals better. It's easier.
And what are you hoping for Christmas? What's the ideal Christmas present?
For Christmas, I don't know, peace on earth and goodwill. No, What am I looking for Christmas? I don't know, actually. I'm terrible on presents. I just gratefully accept whatever I get.
Well, happy Christmas.
Thank you, and to you and all your listeners.
You can find more podcasts of documentaries and current affairs at bbc.co.uk/Radio 4.